Demogoblin. When Doctor Strange separated the demon from the man. The Marvel Universe has no dearth of powerful superheroes. However, we all know that where there are superheroes, there are bound to be villains. Beloved web-slinging superhero Spider-Man has had a string of impressive adversaries over the years, and one of them happens to be the hellish Demogoblin. If you haven't heard of this one before, well, you're missing out. The Demogoblin may not have had the same longevity as a regular villain compared to the other goblins in the Spider-Man villain lineup, but he is perhaps the most fearsome of them all. This horrible creature was created by the fires of hell itself, and went on to conduct a personal crusade against blasphemers and heretics all over the earth. Although his diabolical appearance and usage of black magic gave him the one-dimensional appearance of a demonic punisher, the Demogoblin was a remarkably multifaceted figure. In this video, we will break down all things Demogoblin. Keep watching. But before we get into our video, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Most impactful appearances and origins explored. The Demogoblin evolved directly from the character of the Hobgoblin. That is, one of the many humans who took up that role for varying reasons. Jason Masondale Jr. was once a CIA-trained assassin for hire who took on the Hobgoblin alias in order to earn recognition as a supervillain, but a chain of unfortunate circumstances would lead him directly into hell's flames. His journey started in the spectacular Spider-Man number 147, which came out in the year 1989, as he took his first steps towards the transition from Hobgoblin to Demogoblin in the midst of a demon invasion in New York. After being defeated by Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, the Hobgoblin hovered over New York City lamenting his recent failure. He was clearly not used to losing. He was enraged, having been denied access to the Goblin formula, which he believed he was entitled to as the Hobgoblin, and as it would have helped him increase his strength. A legion of demons suddenly ambushed the Hobgoblin, as they could see through the Hobgoblin's disguise. The Hobgoblin, however, was not in the spirit for a fight, and thus annihilated the demons quickly. He was unconcerned about the demon invasion ravaging New York, but their remarks about being dressed like a demon inspired him to do something that would change him forever. In the meanwhile, Spider-Man was web-slinging throughout Metropolis, and was surprised and shocked to see what had happened to his hometown. He wished he wasn't so preoccupied with battling Harry Osborn and the Hobgoblin so that he could intervene and stop the invasion. He decided to go to the Daily Bugle as Peter Parker and check what was going on. Unfortunately, Spider-Man was blown into the side of a building by a demonic wind. To keep himself from plunging to his doom, he grabbed a gargoyle statue. Unfortunately, the gargoyle was still alive and bit him, poisoning his entire body. Spider-Man pulled up his body after falling to the ground, and slowly made his way towards the familiar site of the Daily Bugle building. J. Jonah Jameson, the editor-in-chief, was leading his employees upstairs in the battle against the demons that had infiltrated his office. When Spider-Man emerged from the elevator, he was surprised, and when the wall crawler dropped to the floor due to the poison in his body, he told Joy Mercado to treat the wounded masked hero. Chaos continued throughout the entire city as people fought the demons. Meanwhile, the Hobgoblin made his way to the Empire State Building in Manhattan, the epicenter of the Inferno invasion. He was then swarmed by demons who wanted to devour him. However, when the Hobgoblin expressed his desire to see their lord, they spared him. Soon after, he was visited by Nastir, a demon who demanded to know what he desired, and the Hobgoblin obliged by telling him of his desire for more power. Nastir then considered the Hobgoblin's proposition for his soul in exchange for power, and find it quite hilarious. A typical deal with the devil, if you will. However, despite the fact that Nastir had no use for such a polluted soul, he agreed to grant the Hobgoblin's wish, because the human had made him chuckle. The Hobgoblin was then blasted with supernatural energy from the demon, which sent him flying all the way across the city. As the battle ended and Spider-Man and his friends triumphed over the demon, the Hobgoblin awakened from his crash and gazed into the dark waters of Central Park. He was shocked to discover that Nastir had not only granted him the power he had requested, but he had also transformed him into a terrible demonic shape, thus marking the birth of a being that would lead to the creation of the Demogoblin. He then appears in a primarily antagonist role in Web of Spider-Man number 86, which was released in the year 1992. It turns out that the demon who had possessed him as a result of his encounter and subsequent deal with the demon lord Nastir was incompatible with his soul, and thus the two of them often fought for control over Jason's body. In this particular comic book, Jason Masondale endures yet another agonizing change between his human and demonic personas while inside the Tomb's prison. Some armed individuals shoot the guards and fight their way into the prison as he goes through his excruciating metamorphosis. When these armed individuals reach the Hobgoblin's cell, they inform him that they have been paid to break him free and proceed to place plastic grenades on the villain's bulletproof glass door cell. They free the Hobgoblin and take him all the way to the Kingpin, supervillain Wilson Fisk. Fisk informs the Hobgoblin that he broke him out of prison so that he might kill the sinner Peter Parker and his bodyguard Spider-Man. It was all a part of Fisk's plan to get rid of Spider-Man for good. The Hobgoblin, under the influence of his demonic half at the time, accepts this rationale and agrees to destroy the targets, promising to return to be the judge of their goodness after he completes his mission of defeating them. The Hobgoblin then leaves to carry out his mission. He approaches Peter's apartment and demands that he come out and face his doom. However, right at that time, he reverts back to human form, and the villain yells in agony. He loses his equilibrium and falls from his glider as a result of this transformation. Fortunately, Spider-Man arrives to save the day and the villain, as he stops Jason from falling to his death. The wall crawler, however, is sick of these transitions and reminds Masondale of how he sought help from Spider-Man and Moon Knight before turning against them the moment his demonic form showed up. Shifting back to his demonic form, Hobgoblin blames his present state of insanity on Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, and Blaze. Spider-Man then discovers that the Hobgoblin had gone insane while avoiding his enemies' attacks. The Hobgoblin screams as he crashes down onto the street and transitions once again. The fight between the two entities possessing one body getting tougher and tougher by the minute. However, when he changes this time, instead of switching forms, the Hobgoblin's demonic form separates away from him to become its own entity, the Demogoblin. The evil Hobgoblin is overjoyed to be free and is about to annihilate his former host. That's when Spider-Man appears and rescues Masondale. The end of Demogoblin and the possession attempt on Moon Knight. During Maximum Carnage, Demogoblin joined Carnage and his clan. Demogoblin fought Venom and Mobius in San Francisco amid an onslaught of goblins invading the metropolis. In Venom's storyline, Enemy Within, Demogoblin was assumed to be the source of the goblins, but it was actually a man named Charlie's fault. Demogoblin eventually killed every one of the goblins by compelling them to leap off of a bridge and drown in the water below. This cleared his name and was arguably the most courageous plan to halt sinners out of all of his violent adventures over the years. Demogoblin ultimately forgave Masondale after this incident, which irritated the Hobgoblin so much that he resolved to cleanse the world of his other half once and for all. In a chapel, the final battle took place. At one point during the battle, Jason threw a massive pillar at the Demogoblin, who held it up for a while, but ultimately succumbed under the pressure and weight of the pillar, dying at the hands of his creator. After confronting the Hobgoblin and losing, the Demogoblin's ghost once attempted to control Moon Knight by possessing him. With the help of Doctor Strange and Mr. Fantastic, his spirit was exorcised. Unfortunately, the Demogoblin has not had his fair share of adventures, and his appearances have been limited to only a few story arcs. Why was Demogoblin such a powerful opponent? The Demogoblin had superhuman strength, capable of lifting and pressing 10 tons. His body was infused with mysterious energies and magic that he used to manufacture equipment akin to the Green Goblin and Hobgoblins. This gear usually consisted of a skeletal goblin glider made of hellfire and brimstone. He used this glider to fly through the air at insane speeds of at least 90 miles per hour, comparable to the Green Goblin and Hobgoblin gliders. He could also create mystical weapons like razor bats and pumpkin bombs that could mentally immobilize his victims, similar to those used by Green Goblin and Hobgoblin. He could also employ his magical abilities in more traditional combat scenarios, such as shooting strong heat beams from his palms. He preferred though to utilize his goblin weapons and summon a demonic goblin glider. The Demogoblin also had limited telepathic powers, which allowed him to track down and interact with people like the Hobgoblin and the doppelganger. The Demogoblin's fingers were tipped with razor-sharp claws, and his jaw was loaded with rows of needle-like razor-sharp teeth that he could utilize in close-quarter combat. Along with all this, he had superhuman strength, stamina, agility, and reflexes, and his demonic physiology enhanced them to an impressive degree. Demogoblin's body tissues were slightly firmer and more impervious to physical injury than a normal human being. With little to no pain, he could resist collision and blunt trauma forces that would paralyze or kill another human being. He could, for example, endure a fall from an altitude of several stories without being hurt. His goblin physiology also allowed him to fire beams of hellfire out of his mouth, The Demogoblin may appear to be an agent of total chaos, murder, and ruin, yet he's actually quite a bright figure. On multiple occasions, he's managed to keep his cards close to his breast, fooling both allies and opponents. What also made the Demogoblin a powerful opponent was his principles. The Demogoblin believed that everyone was bad and that they must pay with their lives for their sins. To accomplish his cause, he must murder anybody and everybody. According to his own confession, the only person he could ever forgive was Jason Masondale, the one who brought him into this world. Demogoblin was enraged, and his rage compelled him to strike out and act irrationally violently toward people he considered to be his foes. Demogoblin was more concerned with executing sinners in what he saw as a holy fight against evil. Because of his lunacy and demonic influence, he chose to attack those who did not deserve such harsh punishments. He was extremely dangerous due to his instability. To end on an interesting note, Demogoblin saved a child from a falling building before dying, and died in the process as an unexpected hero. Demogoblin as an entity is quite fresh, sort of the Ghost Rider of the Spider-Verse, if you will. The character has a lot of potential, and would do well in upcoming Marvel story arcs. He is quite underexplored, and has only appeared in a handful of issues, but definitely is a complex villain, worthy of mention. Do you think the Demogoblin is worthy of playing a bigger role in the Marvel Universe? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.